In ecological terms, a witch animal is a concept used to describe certain species that exhibit unusual, often misunderstood behaviors or traits, which can lead to misconceptions about their nature and role within the ecosystem. This term is not a scientific classification, but rather a colloquial way to refer to animals that might be seen as mysterious or even sinister, often due to their nocturnal habits, unique physical appearances, or behaviors that deviate from what is considered typical for their kind. For example, creatures like owls, bats, and certain reptiles are sometimes labeled as witch animals because they thrive in the dark, have unique hunting strategies, or possess features that make them appear otherworldly, such as glowing eyes or unusual sounds. Unlike traditional animals, which are categorized based on clear biological classifications such as mammals, birds, or reptiles, witch animals often represent a blend of folklore and ecological observation, highlighting the human tendency to mythologize certain species based on their enigmatic characteristics. This classification emphasizes the importance of understanding these animals in their ecological context, recognizing that they play vital roles in their habitats, such as controlling pest populations, aiding in pollination, or serving as indicators of environmental health. The fascination with witch animals also reflects how culture intersects with nature, as many societies have historically attributed supernatural qualities to various species, shaping our perceptions and interactions with them. Thus, while traditional animals are studied through a lens of taxonomy and biology, witch animals invite a more complex exploration of the relationship between humans and the natural world, challenging us to see beyond our fears and misunderstandings, and instead appreciate the extraordinary adaptations and ecological significance of these often misunderstood creatures. Witch animals, often referred to in folklore and popular culture, can be likened to creatures that are associated with mystique and enchantment. But if we look at actual animals that might capture that sense of wonder, we can consider species that thrive in unique environments, showcasing their adaptations and dominance. For instance, many amphibians, such as frogs and salamanders, are often found in moist, forested areas where they can easily access both water and land. The lush vegetation, combined with a rich supply of insects, provides them with ample food sources, while the moisture in the environment is crucial for their survival, as these creatures have permeable skin that needs to stay moist to facilitate respiration and hydration. In contrast, other animals, like the clever raccoon, have made a name for themselves in urban environments. These adaptable creatures thrive in areas where human habitats meet natural landscapes, finding food in garbage cans, parks, and even rivers. Their success is largely due to their omnivorous diet, high intelligence, and dexterous front paws, which allow them to manipulate objects in their environment, making them quite resourceful. Meanwhile, in the arid deserts, you might find the intriguing fennec fox, with its large ears and sandy-colored fur, perfectly suited to blend into its surroundings. The fennec fox thrives in the extreme conditions of the desert, where temperatures can soar during the day and plummet at night. Its adaptations, such as being nocturnal to avoid the heat, and its ability to go long periods without water, contribute to its dominance in this harsh ecosystem, where few animals can survive. On the other hand, in the vast ocean, the great white shark reigns supreme. These apex predators dominate their marine ecosystems, thanks to their keen sense of smell, powerful muscles, and sharp teeth. They thrive in coastal waters, where they can find a variety of prey, including seals and fish, and their role as top predators helps maintain the balance of marine life, demonstrating the interconnectedness of ocean ecosystems. In forest ecosystems, the majestic red-tailed hawk soars, using its keen eyesight to spot prey from great heights. These birds of prey thrive in areas where there are open fields interspersed with trees, as this habitat provides them with the perfect hunting grounds. Their ability to adapt to various environments, along with their sharp talons and powerful beaks, contribute to their dominance in these ecosystems, where they play a vital role. Witch animals, often known as keystone species, play crucial roles in their ecosystems, and their interactions with other species can be fascinating and complex. One of the most well-studied examples of this is the role of wolves in maintaining the health of their habitats. Wolves, as apex predators, help regulate the populations of herbivores, such as deer, which, if left unchecked, could overbrowse vegetation, leading to a decline in plant diversity and health. This balance ensures that a variety of plant species thrive, which in turn supports a diverse array of other wildlife, from insects to birds and other mammals. In coastal ecosystems, sea otters are another excellent example of a witch animal, as they play a vital role in controlling sea urchin populations. Sea urchins can devastate kelp forests when their numbers are high, but by preying on them, sea otters help to maintain the balance of these underwater ecosystems. The health of kelp forests is essential, not only for the otters themselves, but also for countless marine species that rely on kelp for shelter and food. Similarly, in freshwater ecosystems, beavers act as ecosystem engineers. Their dam-building activities create wetlands, which serve as critical habitats for many species, including amphibians, fish, and birds. Beavers' actions also help to improve water quality and reduce flooding by slowing down water flow, allowing sediments to settle. This chain reaction benefits numerous other species, fostering a rich biodiversity in the areas they inhabit. In the case of pollinators like bees and butterflies, their interactions with flowering plants are essential for the reproduction of many plant species. By transferring pollen from flower to flower, they not only ensure the continuation of those plant species, but also support the animals that rely on those plants for food and shelter. The decline of pollinator populations can lead to a cascading effect, threatening the entire ecosystem. Another interesting interaction can be found in the relationship between certain birds, like the oxpecker, and large mammals, such as rhinoceroses or buffalo. Oxpeckers feed on ticks and parasites that infest these large mammals. In return, the birds get food, and the mammals benefit from pest control. This mutualistic relationship highlights how interconnected species are within their habitats, each playing a role that contributes to the overall health of the ecosystem. Moreover, in the oceans, the symbiotic relationship between clownfish and sea anemones demonstrates a unique interaction. Clownfish, in the intricate tapestry of nature, the concept of a witch animal often refers to creatures that possess unique traits, enabling them to thrive as apex predators. These animals exhibit several characteristics that set them apart, enhancing their hunting prowess and survival skills. One prominent trait is exceptional adaptability, allowing these creatures to navigate diverse environments, whether it's dense forests, vast grasslands, or deep oceans. This adaptability not only aids in finding food, but also in evading threats, further solidifying their position at the top of the food chain. Another significant characteristic is heightened sensory perception. Many apex predators, such as wolves or hawks, boast acute senses, enabling them to detect prey from great distances. Enhanced vision, hearing, or smell can make all the difference when hunting, allowing these animals to spot potential meals or avoid becoming meals themselves. For instance, the keen eyesight of a bald eagle allows it to spot a small rodent from hundreds of feet in the air, showcasing how sensory traits can directly influence hunting success. Moreover, physical capabilities play an essential role in the success of these animals. Muscular strength, agility, and speed are crucial traits that enable them to chase down or overpower prey. Take the cheetah, for example, which is renowned for its incredible speed. With the ability to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just a few seconds, it illustrates how physical prowess can be a decisive advantage in the wild. Additionally, the powerful jaws of a lion or the sharp talons of an eagle serve as formidable tools for capturing and securing prey, further emphasizing the importance of physical characteristics. Intelligence also contributes significantly to the effectiveness of these apex predators. Many of them display complex social behaviors, strategic hunting techniques, and advanced problem-solving skills. For instance, orcas, known as killer whales, exhibit sophisticated hunting techniques, often working together in pods to herd fish into tight groups, making them easier to catch. This collaborative approach not only enhances their efficiency as hunters, but also reflects their high level of social intelligence. Camouflage and stealth are other vital traits that allow these animals to remain undetected while stalking their prey. The mottled fur of a leopard allows it to blend seamlessly into its surroundings, making it nearly invisible to both prey and rivals. This ability to remain hidden until the perfect moment strikes is a crucial strategy in the predator's playbook, ensuring successful hunts and longevity in the wild. Additionally, the reproductive strategies of apex predators often contribute to their dominance. When we think about the food chain, we often picture a clear hierarchy where larger animals like lions or sharks sit at the top as apex predators, controlling their ecosystems. However, if we shift our focus to less commonly recognized apex predators, such as certain species of birds, reptiles, or even insects, the concept of the food chain becomes more intricate and fascinating. For instance, consider the peregrine falcon, a bird of prey that, while not as widely celebrated as lions or wolves, plays a crucial role in regulating populations of smaller birds. This highlights how different apex predators can occupy various niches within their ecosystems, leading to a more complex understanding of food chains. In many ecosystems, apex predators like wolves may control a population of herbivores, such as deer, which in turn can impact the vegetation and overall health of the environment. Conversely, when we examine the role of smaller apex predators, like the praying mantis, we find that they may control insect populations, which can also have significant effects on plant life and the greater ecological balance. This difference in scale and impact shows that apex predators are not solely defined by size or fearsome reputation. Their role in the food chain can vary greatly depending on their specific environment and the species they interact with. Moreover, the food chain can shift dramatically based on the presence or absence of these less recognized apex predators. For example, in a forest where larger predators are absent, smaller predators like red foxes or even raccoons might rise to fill that gap, influencing the populations of smaller mammals and birds. This adaptability demonstrates the resilience of nature and how food chains can be dynamic, reflecting the changes in species presence and environmental conditions. Additionally, the concept of a food chain also encompasses the idea of competition among apex predators. For instance, in some regions, the introduction of an invasive species can disrupt the local food chain, leading to competition between native apex predators and newcomers for the same food sources. This competition can result in a cascade of effects throughout the ecosystem, altering the balance and health of various populations. In summary, while we often think of apex predators in terms of the most recognizable species, the truth is that many lesser-known animals also play vital roles in their respective food chains. Understanding this broader perspective allows us to appreciate the complexity of ecosystems and the interconnectedness of all living things, from the smallest insects to the largest mammals. This highlights the importance of conserving all species, regardless of their size or perceived. Human perception plays a crucial role in identifying and defining which animals are considered significant or even mythical across different cultures, as our understanding of the natural world is often shaped by our experiences, beliefs, and surroundings. For instance, the way a particular animal is viewed can vary dramatically from one culture to another, influenced by historical events, environmental factors, and societal norms. In many indigenous cultures, animals are seen as spiritual beings, where each creature embodies lessons or characteristics that are revered and respected. Take, for example, the wolf, which in some Native American tribes is viewed as a symbol of loyalty and strength, while in other cultures it may be associated with fear and danger due to its predatory nature. Similarly, the perception of snakes can differ widely. In some cultures, they are seen as sacred creatures representing renewal and transformation, while in others, they are often associated with treachery or evil. This duality stems from human experiences with these animals, where encounters might lead to either admiration or fear, shaping the narratives that surround them. Furthermore, folklore and mythology often amplify human perceptions, giving rise to stories that highlight certain traits or behaviors of animals, thus influencing how they are treated and regarded within a community. In places where the jaguar roams, it is often celebrated as a powerful protector, while in other regions, it might be viewed as a threat to livestock, leading to a more negative perception. Moreover, human perception is closely tied to the practical interactions we have with animals in our environment. For example, in agricultural societies, Animals like cows and chickens are often revered for their contributions to human sustenance, fostering a sense of gratitude and respect. Conversely, animals that threaten crops or livestock may be seen as pests, leading to a more adversarial relationship. The cultural significance of animals is also reflected in art, where various species are depicted in ways that express human emotions or collective identities, serving as symbols that resonate deeply within cultural narratives. Language itself plays a pivotal role in shaping perceptions. The names we give to animals can carry connotations that influence how they are viewed. For instance, the term pest carries a negative implication, while companion has positive associations. This linguistic framing can affect how individuals in a culture interact with certain species, determining whether they are protected, celebrated, or persecuted. Additionally, the rise of conservation efforts in recent years highlights a shift in perception as some cultures begin to view endangered species as integral parts of. In the intricate web of nature, communication among animals is as varied and complex as the species themselves, and when we delve into the realm of so-called witch animals, which often refers to creatures that have a mystical reputation like owls, foxes, and even certain species of frogs, we discover how they use a range of methods to convey messages to one another. These animals have developed unique ways to communicate, using vocalizations, body language, and even chemical signals, all of which play crucial roles in their survival and dominance within their habitats. For instance, owls, known for their silent flight and mysterious presence, communicate through a series of hoots, screeches, and even subtle calls that can convey warnings to other owls about potential threats or signal mating calls during the breeding season, which is essential for attracting a mate and ensuring the continuation of their species. Foxes, on the other hand, utilize a combination of vocalizations such as barks and screams, along with body language, including tail positioning and ear movements, to express their emotions and intentions to other foxes, whether it be to establish territory, warn of danger, or signal the presence of food. This type of communication is vital, as it helps them avoid confrontations with rivals, while also collaborating with family members during hunts, which ultimately increases their chances of survival in a competitive environment. Moreover, certain amphibians, like tree frogs, employ a fascinating method of communication through calls that can be heard from quite a distance, especially during mating season when males croak to attract females, showcasing their health and vitality. This vocal communication is not just for attracting mates, however. It also serves as a territorial display, allowing the frogs to assert dominance over their chosen areas, thus reducing physical confrontations with other males. In addition to vocalizations, chemical communication is another fascinating aspect of how witch animals interact. Many creatures, such as skunks and certain insects, release pheromones to send signals to others, which can alert them to danger, mark territory, or even indicate readiness to mate. This chemical language often works silently, but can be incredibly effective in conveying important information that can aid in survival and reproduction, as animals respond to these signals without the need for direct contact. Understanding these communication methods highlights the remarkable adaptability of these animals, allowing them to thrive in diverse environments. Their ability to convey messages, whether through sound, body movements, or chemical signals, plays a vital role. Witch animals, a fascinating group, often associated with magical folklore, actually refer to various species that play crucial roles in their ecosystems, and their primary threats are numerous, impacting their survival and position within the food chain. One of the main threats to these animals is habitat loss, caused by human activities such as deforestation, urbanization, and agricultural expansion. When their habitats are destroyed or fragmented, these animals lose the necessary resources they need to thrive, including food, shelter, and breeding grounds, which can lead to declining populations. Another significant threat is climate change, which alters weather patterns, affects food availability, and changes the habitats that witch animals depend on. For instance, rising temperatures can shift the distribution of prey and competitors, as well as impact the timing of breeding and migration, which can disrupt the delicate balance within the food chain. Pollution also poses a serious risk, as chemicals and waste can contaminate the environments where these animals live, affecting their health and reproductive success. For example, toxic pollutants can accumulate in the bodies of these animals, leading to weakened immune systems and increased mortality rates. In addition to these environmental threats, witch animals often face direct threats from poaching and illegal wildlife trade. Many species are hunted for their skins, bones, or other body parts, which can severely deplete their populations and disrupt the ecological roles they play. This hunting not only affects the targeted species, but can also have cascading effects throughout the food chain, as the removal of a key predator or prey species can lead to overpopulation of certain species and subsequent declines in vegetation or other animal populations, further destabilizing the ecosystem. Disease is another threat that can impact witch animals, as the spread of infectious diseases can decimate populations, especially in areas where animals are already stressed by other factors. The introduction of invasive species can also threaten their survival, as these newcomers can outcompete native species for resources, disrupt food webs, and introduce new diseases. All of these threats combined can lead to a significant decline in the populations of witch animals, pushing them to the brink of extinction and altering their roles in the food chain. The loss of witch animals from an ecosystem can have far-reaching consequences, as they often serve as important predators or prey, helping to maintain the balance of populations within their environment. For example, if a predator is removed, the populations of its prey can explode, leading to overgrazing and depletion of vegetation, which can then affect other herbivores in the entire ecosystem. Witch animals, a term that often refers to certain species that possess unique characteristics or behaviors, exhibit remarkable adaptability to changes in their environments, showcasing a variety of fascinating strategies that help them maintain their status at the top of the food chain. One key way these animals adapt is through behavioral flexibility, which allows them to alter their hunting techniques, social structures, or even their diets based on the resources available in their habitats. For instance, some witch animals, like cunning foxes, can switch from hunting small mammals to scavenging human refuse when food becomes scarce, demonstrating their ability to thrive under different circumstances. Additionally, these animals often rely on their physical attributes, fine-tuned over generations, to respond to environmental shifts. For example, certain species have developed keen senses such as enhanced vision or acute hearing that enable them to detect prey or predators more effectively, even in changing landscapes. In more extreme cases, some witch animals have evolved camouflage or defensive mechanisms, allowing them to blend into their surroundings or deter threats, ensuring their survival even as their habitats fluctuate. Moreover, social structure plays a significant role in how these animals adapt. Many witch species, like wolves or orcas, live in packs or pods, allowing them to cooperate in hunting and foraging. This social cooperation enhances their ability to secure food and defend against rivals, making them more resilient to environmental changes. The communication skills these animals possess, including vocalizations, body language, and even scent marking, help them maintain strong social bonds and coordinate their efforts effectively, further solidifying their position at the top. Reproductive strategies also come into play when it comes to adaptation. Witch animals often exhibit behaviors that ensure the survival of their young, especially during challenging times. Some species, for example, may have larger litters or produce offspring at different times of the year, increasing the chances that at least some of their young will survive to adulthood despite harsh conditions or fluctuating food supplies. This flexibility in reproduction can help sustain populations even when environmental conditions are less than ideal. In addition to these strategies, witch animals are also known to be highly observant and learn from their experiences. For example, they may watch and imitate other successful hunters, pick up on cues from their environment, or learn to navigate new territories. This ability to learn not only enhances their survival, but also allows them to exploit new opportunities that arise due to changes in their surroundings. Furthermore, some witch animals exhibit a phenomenon known as phenotypic plasticity, where witch animals, often referred to in folklore and fantasy, have captured the imagination of many, but when we look at real-life creatures that exhibit behaviors reminiscent of apex predators, we can find fascinating examples in nature. For instance, the way certain birds, like the great horned owl, hunt at night, showcases predatory strategies similar to those of larger predators. They have exceptional hearing, allowing them to detect the faintest rustle of a mouse hiding in the underbrush, and with their sharp talons, they strike with precision, much like the stealthy approach of a tiger stalking its prey. Similarly, the cunning of the red fox can be likened to the strategic hunting style of wolves. Foxes are known for their cleverness and ability to adapt their hunting techniques based on the environment, often using their keen sense of smell to locate small mammals. They will often pounce into the snow or tall grass, displaying a level of stealth and agility that mirrors the tactics employed by apex predators in their respective ecosystems. In the marine world, orcas, often known as killer whales, exhibit social hunting techniques that parallel those of lions in the savannah. These intelligent creatures often hunt in pods, working together to encircle schools of fish or even to take down larger marine mammals like seals. This cooperative behavior is a hallmark of apex predators, showcasing their ability to strategize and communicate effectively during hunts. Moreover, the aggressive territorial behaviors of alligators can be compared to those of big cats, like leopards. Alligators establish and defend their territories fiercely, often engaging in displays of strength and intimidation to ward off intruders, much like how a leopard will mark its territory and defend it against rivals. This behavior not only ensures their access to vital resources, but also reinforces their status as top predators in their habitat. Another intriguing example is the mimicry observed in certain reptiles, such as the eastern indigo snake. This snake, while not an apex predator in the traditional sense, exhibits behaviors that deter potential threats. When faced with danger, it can mimic the aggressive posturing of larger snakes, thereby avoiding confrontation and establishing itself as a formidable presence. This kind of adaptive behavior is also seen in apex predators, which often display strength to maintain their dominance in the food chain. Finally, consider the powerful and solitary behavior of the polar bear, which embodies the essence of an apex predator. These bears roam vast territories in search of seals, relying on their acute sense of smell, which animals, often referred to as keystone predators, play a crucial role in shaping the populations of prey species in their ecosystems, and this influence can lead to significant consequences for the entire environment. These predators, which can include wolves, lions, and even certain birds of prey, help to maintain the balance of the ecosystem by controlling the populations of herbivores. When their numbers are healthy, these predators keep prey populations in check, preventing them from overgrazing or overbrowsing vegetation, which can lead to habitat degradation. For example, in areas where wolves have been reintroduced, researchers have observed a decline in elk populations. This decrease allows for the recovery of willow and aspen trees, which in turn supports a variety of other species, from beavers to songbirds, that rely on those plants for shelter and food. However, when keystone predators are removed from an ecosystem, the consequences can be dire. Without these predators, prey species can reproduce unchecked, leading to overpopulation. This overpopulation can result in overgrazing, which depletes plant life, causing soil erosion and loss of habitat for other species. A notable example of this is the case of the gray wolf in Yellowstone National Park. When wolves were absent for decades, the elk population surged, leading to significant declines in vegetation along riverbanks, which in turn affected the entire ecosystem, including water quality and the presence of species that rely on the health of those plants. Furthermore, the interactions between predator and prey can also influence the behavior of prey species, often referred to as ecology of fear. Prey animals, such as deer, may alter their feeding habits or shift their ranges to avoid areas where they are more likely to encounter predators. This behavioral shift can have cascading effects on plant communities, as herbivores may avoid certain areas, allowing particular plant species to flourish while others decline. In addition, the presence of predators can create a more diverse ecosystem. By influencing prey dynamics, predators help maintain a variety of species, which contributes to overall biodiversity. This diversity is essential for ecosystem resilience, enabling it to withstand changes and recover from disturbances. For instance, in marine environments, the presence of sharks can regulate the populations of various fish species, which in turn helps to maintain coral reef health as overpopulation of certain fish can lead to overgrazing of corals. The consequences of predator influence extend beyond immediate impacts on prey populations. They can affect nutrient. Witch animals, often depicted in various myths and folklore, hold a significant place in the cultural narratives of many societies, with creatures like owls, black cats, and bats frequently associated with witchcraft and the supernatural. These animals are often seen as omens or companions of witches, leading to a complex relationship between humans and these creatures. In many cultures, owls, for instance, are viewed as wise and mysterious beings, sometimes believed to possess magical powers. They are often seen at night, their silent flight and haunting calls feeding into the myths surrounding them. This connection has a dual impact. On one hand, it can lead to admiration and respect for these animals, fostering a sense of wonder about their role in nature. On the other hand, it can also result in fear and misunderstanding, leading to the persecution of these creatures, particularly in times of superstition. Black cats, often linked to witchcraft, have a mixed reputation. In some cultures, they are considered lucky, while in others, they are seen as harbingers of bad luck, which has historically led to their mistreatment. The association of such animals with witchcraft can directly impact their conservation status, as fear and superstition can lead to their decline. For example, during certain periods in history, particularly during witch hunts, many innocuous animals that were associated with witches faced cruel treatment, resulting in population declines. The myths surrounding these animals often perpetuate negative stereotypes, which can hinder conservation efforts aimed at protecting them. However, as societies evolve and scientific understanding improves, there's a growing movement to reassess these beliefs, promoting a more positive view of witch animals. This shift can foster a greater appreciation for their ecological roles and the importance of their conservation. Additionally, folklore can serve as a vehicle for conservation messages. For instance, by reframing the narrative around witch animals to highlight their roles in the ecosystem, such as pest control or seed dispersal, educators and conservationists can work to change perceptions and encourage protective measures. The stories we tell about these animals can influence how they are treated and perceived in contemporary society, ultimately impacting their survival. In regions where traditional beliefs still hold sway, engaging with these cultural narratives while promoting scientific understanding can lead to successful conservation strategies. By integrating folklore with modern conservation efforts, there is potential for a harmonious coexistence, allowing witch animals to thrive while enriching our cultural heritage. Scientists study animals in various ways to gain insights into their ecological roles and behaviors, utilizing a combination of fieldwork, laboratory experiments, and advanced technologies. One common method is direct observation, where researchers spend time in an animal's natural habitat, patiently watching their interactions with other species, their feeding habits, and their social structures. This approach allows scientists to gather valuable data on how animals influence their environments, such as how predators control prey populations and how herbivores affect plant communities. In addition to observation, scientists often use tracking devices, such as GPS, collars, or radio transmitters, to monitor animal movements over time. By analyzing these movement patterns, researchers can determine migration routes, territory sizes, and breeding behaviors, which are crucial for understanding how animals fit into their ecosystems. Another important technique is the collection of biological samples, including feces, blood, and tissue, which can provide genetic information and insights into diet and health. For instance, analyzing fecal samples can reveal what an animal has been eating, helping scientists to understand food webs and dietary preferences. Genetic studies can shed light on population dynamics, revealing how animals are related, how they interact with one another, and how they adapt to their environments. Furthermore, scientists often conduct experiments in controlled settings to observe how animals respond to different stimuli, such as changes in temperature or food availability. These experiments help researchers understand behavioral adaptations and survival strategies that animals use in the wild. In recent years, technology has dramatically enhanced the study of animal behavior and ecology. Camera traps, for example, allow scientists to capture images of wildlife without human presence, enabling them to study elusive species and monitor population changes over time. Drones are also increasingly used to survey habitats, providing aerial views that can help researchers track animal movements and habitat use across large areas. Additionally, bioacoustic monitoring, which involves recording animal sounds, is helping scientists study communication patterns among species, revealing how animals interact and how their social structures function. Through these diverse methods, scientists build a comprehensive understanding of animal ecology, revealing the intricate relationships between species and their environments. This knowledge is essential for conservation efforts, as it informs strategies to protect endangered species and restore habitats, ensuring that ecosystems remain balanced and resilient in the face of change. By piecing together the puzzle of animal behavior and ecology, scientists not only uncover the secrets of the natural world, but also highlight the importance of every species in maintaining the health of our planet. Throughout various cultures and regions, certain animals have been regarded as witch animals, often associated with folklore, magic, and supernatural beliefs. In Europe, particularly during the Middle Ages, the black cat became infamous as a witch's familiar, a companion believed to aid witches in their magical practices. These cats were often thought to possess special powers, and their dark fur symbolized mystery and the unknown, leading to their association with witchcraft. In parts of the British Isles, the hare has also been viewed with suspicion. In folklore, it was believed that witches could transform into hares, which fueled fears and superstitions surrounding these creatures. In North America, the owl is frequently linked to witchcraft, particularly in Native American traditions, where it is seen as a harbinger of death or a spirit messenger. The great horned owl, with its large size and haunting call, often evokes a sense of the eerie and the unknown, making it a powerful symbol in many indigenous cultures. In some African traditions, certain species of snakes, like the python, are revered as sacred animals, believed to embody the spirits of ancestors or have protective qualities, yet in other contexts, they may also be feared as witch animals associated with dark magic. Similarly, in South America, the jaguar holds a prominent place in indigenous beliefs, symbolizing strength and power, while also being seen as a creature associated with witchcraft and shamanic practices. The jaguar is often depicted in mythology as a guardian of the underworld, connecting it to supernatural themes. In the Caribbean, the belief in duppies, or spirits, often includes stories of various animals, such as the goat or the pig, which are sometimes said to be witches in disguise, further intertwining the natural world with the mystical. In Asia, particularly in Japan, the fox, or kitsune, holds a dual role, being viewed as a protective spirit, but also as a trickster, capable of shape-shifting into a beautiful woman, often associated with sorcery. This transformation can symbolize the blending of the natural and supernatural, where the fox acts as a bridge between the two worlds. On the other hand, in the cultures of the Middle East, the raven is often portrayed as a creature associated with omens, and its dark feathers and intelligent behavior have led to associations with witchcraft and the occult. Each of these examples reflects a deep connection between animals and the beliefs of the cultures that regard them as witch animals. Climate change and habitat loss pose significant threats to many animal species, affecting their survival and altering their roles in the food chain. For instance, polar bears, which are iconic symbols of the Arctic, rely heavily on sea ice to hunt seals, their primary food source. As global temperatures rise, the ice melts earlier in the spring and forms later in the fall. This loss of ice not only reduces their hunting grounds, but also affects their ability to breed and raise their young, leading to decreased populations. Similarly, coral reefs, which are often called the rainforests of the sea, are suffering from rising ocean temperatures and acidification. As corals bleach and die, the myriad of species that depend on these reefs for shelter and food face significant challenges, disrupting the entire marine ecosystem. Another example includes the impact on amphibians, like frogs, which are particularly vulnerable to changes in their environment. Climate change leads to shifts in temperature and precipitation patterns, which can result in habitat loss as wetlands dry up or become too polluted. This not only threatens the frogs directly, but also affects the insects they feed on, creating ripple effects throughout the food web. Birds, too, are feeling the strain. Migratory patterns are shifting as some species find it harder to locate food during their traditional migration routes, making it more challenging to survive and reproduce. In terrestrial ecosystems, large herbivores such as elephants are also impacted by habitat loss driven by human expansion and climate change. As their natural habitats shrink, these majestic animals are forced into closer proximity with human populations, leading to conflicts and further endangering their survival. The decrease in large herbivores can have cascading effects on the ecosystem, as they play a crucial role in shaping their environment, such as through their grazing, which helps maintain the structure of grasslands and forests. Moreover, predators like wolves and big cats are also affected, as their prey species may decline due to habitat changes and climate pressures, leading to a disharmony in the food chain. For instance, if deer populations explode due to the lack of natural predators, it can lead to overgrazing, which can affect plant communities and the overall health of the ecosystem. Thus, the balance of the food chain is disrupted, leading to a decline in biodiversity. Birds of prey, such as eagles and hawks, are often indicators of ecosystem health, and as their prey populations like small mammals are affected by habitat loss and climate change, these birds also face challenges. In the intricate web of nature, the relationship between wildlife, often referred to as witch animals, and the availability of resources in their habitats is a fascinating and complex interaction, which greatly influences their survival and behavior. These animals, which might include species like owls, foxes, or even certain types of snakes, rely heavily on the resources within their environments, such as food, water, and shelter. The availability of these resources can dictate where these animals live, how they hunt, and even their mating habits. For example, owls are known to thrive in areas with abundant small mammals, which serve as their primary food source. If the population of these prey animals declines, perhaps due to habitat destruction or changes in land use, the owls may struggle to find enough food, leading to a decrease in their population as well. Moreover, the availability of resources impacts the behavior of these animals, as they often adapt their hunting strategies based on what is accessible in their environment. For instance, foxes are opportunistic feeders and will change their diet based on what is readily available, whether that is rodents, fruits, or even garbage in urban areas. This adaptability showcases their resilience, yet it also highlights their dependence on the health of their habitats. When resources are plentiful, these animals can flourish, but when resources become scarce, it can lead to competition among species, forcing them to compete for the same food sources or nesting sites, which can create tension within the ecosystem. Additionally, the seasons play a significant role in resource availability, as many species have adapted to the cyclical nature of their environments. In winter, for instance, food becomes scarce for many animals, leading to migratory behaviors in some species, while others may enter a state of hibernation to conserve energy during tough times. The interconnectedness of all these factors illustrates how vital it is for wildlife to have a stable environment where resources are not just available, but abundant enough to support the various life stages of each species. The relationship between wildlife and resource availability is also affected by human activities. Urbanization, pollution, and climate change can drastically alter habitats, reducing the availability of food and shelter, which can lead to the decline of certain species. Conservation efforts often focus on preserving these critical habitats, ensuring that the resources within them remain abundant. By protecting these ecosystems, we can help to maintain the delicate balance that allows various wildlife species to thrive, reminding us of the importance of our role in safeguarding the natural world. Witch animals, often referred to in folklore and myth, can be metaphorically linked to certain real animals that exhibit fascinating territorial behaviors. Take, for example, wolves, which are known for their strong social structures and complex territoriality. Wolves establish their territories through a combination of vocalizations, scent marking, and physical displays. They use howling to communicate with pack members, signaling their presence and the boundaries of their territory to others. Scent marking plays a crucial role as well. Wolves will urinate on trees, rocks, and the ground to leave their scent, which acts as a clear signal to any intruders. This scent marking is not just a casual act, it's part of a well-defined ritual that reinforces their claim to the land. When it comes to defending these territories, wolves exhibit a range of behaviors, from aggressive posturing to coordinated pack tactics. If a rival wolf pack enters their territory, the resident pack might gather together, showing a united front. They may confront the intruders directly, barking and growling, or even engaging in physical confrontations. Interestingly, these confrontations can sometimes be more about intimidation than actual fighting, as the pack tries to scare off the invaders without escalating to violence. Similarly, many birds, such as robins and blue jays, also use vocalizations and displays to assert their territory. Male robins are especially known for their singing, which not only attracts potential mates but also warns other males to stay away. They will defend their territory vigorously, chasing off intruders and sometimes engaging in aerial displays to showcase their strength and resolve. Blue jays, known for their intelligence, will also engage in aggressive behaviors such as diving at intruders and making loud calls to protect their nesting areas. In the reptile world, many lizards display territorial behaviors, particularly during the mating season. Male lizards often engage in push-up displays, a behavior that not only showcases their physical strength, but also serves to warn other males to keep their distance. These displays can be quite elaborate, and in many species, the more vigorous the display, the more likely the male is to be successful in defending his territory. Territoriality is not just about aggression. It can also involve intricate social interactions. For instance, certain species of fish, like the clownfish, establish territories within anemones. They exhibit behaviors such as cleaning the anemone and defending it against potential threats, which not only secures their home but also fosters witch animals, often referred to as intelligent or cunning creatures in folklore, showcase remarkable intelligence and problem-solving skills that allow them to thrive in their environments. For instance, many species of birds, particularly corvids like crows and ravens, have astounded researchers with their ability to use tools, solve complex puzzles, and even plan for the future. In experiments, these birds have been observed bending wires to create hooks to retrieve food, demonstrating not just instinct, but also a level of foresight that is quite sophisticated. Furthermore, they can understand cause and effect, which is a hallmark of advanced cognitive abilities, allowing them to adapt their behaviors based on previous experiences. Similarly, dolphins are known for their high intelligence, exhibiting both social and problem-solving skills. They communicate through a complex system of clicks and whistles, and have been seen working together to herd fish, using teamwork to catch food more effectively. Their ability to recognize themselves in mirrors, a trait shared with only a few other species, indicates a level of self-awareness that is often associated with advanced intelligence. This self-recognition plays a crucial role in social dynamics among dolphins, as they navigate intricate relationships within their pods. Another fascinating example lies within the realm of primates, particularly chimpanzees and bonobos, who exhibit remarkable problem-solving abilities. Research has shown that these animals can use tools, like sticks, to extract termites from mounds, and will even teach these skills to their young. Their social structures are complex, requiring them to navigate relationships and hierarchies, which adds another layer to their intelligence. The way they collaborate to solve problems, such as working together to access food that is otherwise out of reach, highlights their strategic thinking and adaptability. Octopuses, too, are often cited for their intelligence. These cephalopods possess problem-solving abilities that are quite extraordinary. They can escape from enclosures, open jars, and even mimic other species for protection. Their nervous systems are highly complex, allowing them to learn from their surroundings and adapt their behaviors accordingly. The way they manipulate their environment not only demonstrates their intelligence, but also their ability to thrive in various habitats, from coral reefs to deep-sea environments. Moreover, elephants exhibit profound cognitive skills, showcasing empathy, memory, and problem-solving abilities. They have been known to work together to overcome obstacles, such as moving heavy objects to access water or food. Their social structures are deeply rooted in family bonds, and they can remember locations and individuals for years, which the reproductive strategies of witch animals, often misunderstood and shrouded in myth, present a fascinating contrast to those of other top predators. Witch animals, commonly associated with various folklore and spiritual beliefs, are not a biological category, but if we consider animals like owls, foxes, and certain big cats that have been mythologized, we can see some intriguing differences. For example, many top predators such as lions or wolves typically exhibit social structures that influence their reproductive strategies. Lions live in prides, where the dominant male has access to mates, while females often coordinate their breeding cycles to synchronize the care of their young. In contrast, solitary witch-like creatures such as owls tend to be monogamous, forming strong pair bonds that last for multiple breeding seasons. This approach allows them to share responsibilities in raising their young, ensuring survival in a competitive environment. Additionally, witch animals often exhibit unique behaviors during the mating season, such as elaborate courtship displays or vocalizations that can sound eerily magical in the quiet of the night. For instance, male owls may hoot to establish territory and attract females, using their calls to communicate availability and fitness. This differs from top predators like tigers, which are generally solitary and have more straightforward mating behaviors, relying heavily on scent markings to signal their presence to potential mates. The number of offspring produced also varies significantly. Many top predators invest heavily in fewer young, providing extensive parental care, while some witch animals may produce larger litters but with less individual care. For example, a female fox might have a litter of kits, providing them with food and protection while also teaching them essential survival skills, but the survival rate can be much lower due to environmental pressures, disease, and competition. Moreover, the timing of reproduction can be influenced by environmental factors, which is crucial for the survival of both witch animals and top predators. Some witch animals, like certain species of owls, may time their breeding to coincide with peak prey availability, ensuring that their chicks have enough food during the critical early stages of development. This is similar to how wolves might hunt in packs to effectively take down larger prey, synchronizing their reproductive cycles with the availability of resources. In contrast, other top predators may have different strategies based on their habitat and social structures. For example, some big cats may choose to breed year-round, depending on the conditions of their environment, while others might have a more defined breeding season. The conservation of witch animals, often surrounded by myth and folklore, raises a variety of ethical considerations, particularly when we think about how we approach their protection and the habitats they depend on. Many of these creatures, which may include species like the European common toad, the eastern screech owl, or even the elusive black cat, are often viewed through the lens of superstition and cultural significance, which can complicate their conservation efforts. One key ethical consideration is the balance between preserving these animals and respecting the cultural beliefs of communities that may have traditional views about them. For instance, in some cultures, certain animals are considered omens or bearers of bad luck, which can lead to their persecution, even if they are ecologically important. This brings us to the question of how we can educate communities about the ecological roles of these animals, helping to shift perceptions and reduce fear or misunderstanding, while also ensuring that local traditions and beliefs are honored. Another important aspect is habitat protection. Many witch animals inhabit unique ecosystems that are under threat from urbanization, agriculture, and climate change. Ethical conservation efforts must consider not only the animals themselves, but also the environments they thrive in, keeping in mind the rights of indigenous peoples and local communities who rely on these habitats for their livelihoods. Conservationists often face the challenge of negotiating land use, ensuring that the needs of both wildlife and people are met. This may involve creating protected areas or wildlife corridors that allow for safe movement of these species, while also respecting the land rights of local inhabitants. Furthermore, ethical issues arise regarding the methods used in conservation. For example, while some practices, like trapping or relocating animals, can be effective, they may also cause stress or harm to the creatures involved. The welfare of individual animals must be considered alongside broader conservation goals, prompting a need for humane and scientifically informed practices. This raises questions about the role of technology in conservation, such as the use of camera traps, drones, or even genetic studies, which can provide valuable data, but also lead to ethical dilemmas regarding privacy and the natural behavior of animals. There is also the question of funding and resource allocation in conservation efforts. Often, the focus is placed on charismatic megafauna, like lions or elephants, while smaller, lesser-known species, including witch animals, receive less attention and funding. This can lead to an ethical dilemma about which species are deemed worthy of conservation efforts, and whether all species, regardless of their perceived appeal, deserve protection. Cultural beliefs about witch animals, which often refer to certain species that are viewed as mystical or associated with magic, can significantly influence conservation efforts and public perception in various ways. In many cultures, animals like owls, black cats, and even snakes are sometimes regarded as witch animals, imbued with a sense of mystery or fear, which can lead to a complex relationship between people and these creatures. For example, in some societies, owls are seen as omens of death or misfortune, which can foster a negative attitude towards them, leading to persecution or a lack of support for their conservation. This negative perception can result in fewer resources allocated to protect these birds, as the public may view them as threats rather than important parts of the ecosystem. Conversely, certain cultures may revere witch animals, viewing them as symbols of wisdom or guardians of the spirit world. In these cases, such reverence can enhance conservation efforts, as communities might rally around the protection of these animals, seeing them as integral to their cultural identity and heritage. For instance, in some indigenous cultures, animals like the raven or the coyote hold significant spiritual meaning, leading to strong community-driven conservation initiatives aimed at preserving these species and their habitats. The narrative surrounding these animals becomes a rallying point, encouraging people to engage in conservation activities, not only for the sake of the animals themselves, but also for the cultural and spiritual values they represent. Moreover, the role of witch animals in folklore and mythology can be a powerful tool in conservation messaging. By connecting the conservation of these animals to cultural stories and beliefs, conservationists can foster a deeper understanding and appreciation of these species among local communities. Engaging local populations in storytelling about witch animals can create a sense of ownership and responsibility towards their protection. This, in turn, can lead to more effective conservation strategies that respect and incorporate local beliefs and practices. However, there can also be challenges when these cultural beliefs conflict with modern conservation goals. For instance, if a specific animal is believed to bring bad luck, it may be difficult to convince local communities to support its protection, regardless of its ecological importance. In such cases, it is crucial for conservationists to approach the situation with sensitivity, finding ways to educate the community about the benefits of biodiversity and the ecological role of these animals, while respecting their cultural beliefs. Public perception is also shaped by media portrayals of witch animals. Movies, books, and television shows often depict these creatures in a light that can either invasive species can have a profound impact on native animal populations, affecting ecosystems in various ways. When a non-native species is introduced to an ecosystem, it often competes with local species for resources such as food and habitat, which can lead to a decline in native populations. For example, in freshwater ecosystems, invasive fish species, like the zebra mussel, can outcompete native fish for food, disrupting the balance of the aquatic food web. This competition can lead to fewer native fish, which not only affects the species themselves, but also the birds and mammals that rely on these fish as a food source. In terrestrial ecosystems, invasive plants can alter the habitat in ways that are detrimental to native wildlife. For instance, if an invasive plant species grows rapidly and dominates an area, it can shade out native plants, which provide food and shelter for insects, birds, and mammals. When these native plants disappear, the animals that depend on them for survival may struggle to find enough food or suitable nesting sites, leading to population declines. The introduction of invasive predators, such as cats on islands, can have devastating effects on native bird populations, as these birds may not have evolved defenses against such predators, resulting in significant declines or even extinction. Moreover, invasive species can also introduce diseases to which native species have no immunity. For example, the arrival of the chytrid fungus in amphibian populations has led to dramatic declines in frog species around the world, disrupting entire ecosystems that rely on frogs as both predators and prey. The ripple effects of these declines can be extensive, affecting not just the species that are directly impacted, but also the various roles they play in their ecosystems. In summary, invasive species can disrupt food webs, outcompete native species for resources, alter habitats, and introduce diseases, all of which lead to significant impacts on native animal populations across different ecosystems. The ongoing battle against invasive species is crucial for preserving biodiversity and maintaining the health of ecosystems globally, as the challenges posed by these invaders continue to grow with increasing human activity and global trade. Witch animals, often referred to in folklore and mythology, can metaphorically represent various species that play crucial roles in their ecosystems, notably through their interactions and relationships with other organisms. For instance, many animals, like wolves, beavers, and even certain bird species, are considered keystone species, meaning their presence and activities significantly shape their environment and the biodiversity within it. Wolves, as predators, help maintain the balance of herbivore populations, such as deer, which in turn allows for the growth of vegetation, supporting a diverse range of plant and animal life. The removal of wolves from an ecosystem could lead to overpopulation of deer, resulting in overgrazing that diminishes plant diversity, ultimately affecting other species that rely on those plants for food and habitat. Beavers, on the other hand, are known as ecosystem engineers. When they build dams, they create wetlands that serve as vital habitats for a multitude of species, including amphibians, fish, and birds. These wetlands also help filter water, store carbon, and reduce flooding. If beavers are removed from an area, the resulting loss of wetland habitats can lead to decreased biodiversity, as many species depend on those specific environments for survival. Moreover, certain bird species, like pollinators, play essential roles in the reproduction of flowering plants. Without these birds, many plants would struggle to reproduce, leading to a decline in plant diversity. This decline can have cascading effects throughout the food web, as animals that rely on those plants for nutrition would also be affected. Additionally, the removal of any animal species can disrupt the complex web of interactions that occur within ecosystems. For example, when a predator is taken away, not only does it affect the prey species, but it can also impact the flora and fauna that depend on the balance maintained by that predator. This disruption can lead to an increase in certain species, while others decline or disappear, ultimately harming the overall health and resilience of the ecosystem. In conclusion, the role of these so-called witch animals in maintaining biodiversity is complex and interconnected. Their presence helps to sustain the delicate balance necessary for a thriving ecosystem, and their removal results in a chain reaction that can lead to habitat degradation, species decline, and a loss of ecological integrity, highlighting the intrinsic value of every creature within its environment. Researchers use a variety of methods to track and monitor animal populations in the wild, employing both traditional techniques and modern technology, which allows them to gather essential data about species, their behaviors, and the ecosystems they inhabit. One common method is the use of radio telemetry, where researchers attach small radio transmitters to animals, allowing them to track movements and behaviors over time. This technique provides valuable insights into migration patterns, habitat use, and social interactions among animals. Another method is mark recapture studies, where animals are captured, marked in a harmless way, and then released back into the wild, with researchers later recapturing some of these marked individuals. This helps scientists estimate population sizes and understand survival rates, as they can calculate how many marked animals are recaptured compared to unmarked ones. Camera traps have also become increasingly popular, especially in studying elusive or nocturnal species. These motion-activated cameras are placed in strategic locations, capturing images or videos of animals as they pass by, providing researchers with data on species presence, behavior, and abundance, without disturbing the animal's natural activities. Additionally, researchers often utilize acoustic monitoring, deploying devices that record sounds in an environment, which can help identify various species through their calls, particularly in areas where visual observation is challenging. For marine animals, such as whales and dolphins, scientists use hydrophones to monitor vocalizations, which